What's up, guys? Troy from Tad Catters, welcome back. And today we are going to talk about everything you need to know to start catching trophy catfish. So pay attention and stay tuned. All right, guys, let's jump into this. The first thing you're going to need to do to start catching these big fish is you're going to need a good rod and reel. You can spend as little money on these as you want, or you can spend, $200-300 on this stuff. It just depends on what you like or what your preferences are. Personally, I use big cat fever rods at the moment with Penn Warfare reels. But when I first started out, I started out with Berkeley Big Games. The medium heavy rods, you can buy them at Walmart. I think they run about $22, $23, and I've caught 30-40 pound flatheads on these poles, and they do just fine. On the big cat fever side, I think they run about $89, maybe a little, give or take a little, depending on where you get them from. But these poles can handle whatever you throw at them. I'll show you guys some clips of what these poles look like. All right, guys, these are the Berkeley Big Game cast and fishing rods. They run about $20, $21 from Walmart. These are the big cat fever rods. They run about $89, and these are what I currently use now. All right, so the next thing you're going to want is a good reel. You can get the Abu Garcia, you can go to Penn, Daiwa, Akuma. There's multiple reels you can use, but personally I use Penn Warfares. I started out using Abu Garcia. I think the first reel that I ever bought for catfishing was Abu Garcia 6500S, which was about $60. I've used multiple reels, but like I said, now I use Penn Warfares, which I think they run about $90. But I'll show you guys some pictures of those too. All right, so once you got your reels, you're going to need some line to put on those reels. You can go with monofilament line, or you can go with braided line. Both types of line have their goods and bads, pros and cons. Personally, I think that braid, it breaks easier in cover. If you rub it against a rock, or if you've got a fish on it, rubs against a rock or a piece of cover, wood, whatever, that stuff will get a nick in it and it can break easier. I started off with braid. Now I use mono. I use slime line mono. It seems to be really tough. You can also use Berkeley Big Game, which is kind of cheap, but it's really tough line. I've used it for years. Or you can use the braid. That's a personal opinion. I use mono, like I said, personally, but you form your own opinion if you're just starting out. With the braids, I think I started out with Power Pro, which I think it runs about $12-13 for about 150 yards. Another thing is when you put braid on a reel, you need to put backing on it. That way it fills your reel up. Braid has a smaller diameter. You could have like 65-pound braid, and it'll be like the diameter of like a 12-pound mono. You can get more on reels with braid, but anyways, let me show you guys some examples of that stuff. All right, so this is my go-to rig. This is a Carolina rig with a sinker slide. I usually use coin sinkers or bank sinkers that go on these. You can also use slide no-roll sinkers, which I personally don't use those. I used to, but it seemed like they would slide up and down the line like they're supposed to. But if you got them and the person didn't make them right, or you didn't make them right, they would chafe up your line real bad, and you'd have to change out lines and redo rigs and stuff. But this is a Carolina rig. It goes from your main line, which this is slime line from Big Cat Fever, and then you'll put on a sinker slide, a bead to protect your knot, and then you'll go to a swivel. I ain't 100% sure what kind of swivel this is, but you go to a swivel, and then you'll tie on your leader, and then you go to a snelled hook or whatever kind of hook you want to use. We'll get into that here in just a minute. Well, I said I'd get into hooks, so let's talk about hooks. Personally, I use the Team Catfish double actions. Let me show you these. This is a Team Catfish double action hook, circle hook. If you're going to use any type of circle hook, I would suggest that you snell them on your line. That's actually an 8/0 hook. Here's a 5/0 somewhere. That's a 4/0. I got some 5/0s in there somewhere. But anyways, you can also use J hooks. I think Gamakatsu makes a great J hook. They make it, I think it's called the Big River J hook. Let me see if I can find some pictures of those I'll put in here. Team Catfish makes one. I'm not 100% sure what it's called, but it's also a good hook. But again, guys, you guys can go out and spend as much or as little as you want on these hooks. These are just personal preferences and suggestions. You guys form your own opinions. But again, I personally use the Team Catfish circle hooks. There's also a triple threat hook that I think Whisker Seeker makes that are supposed to be really good. But again, if you're going to use any type of circle hook, I would suggest you snell them. All right, guys. So once you got your pole set up, you got your rigs, you got your reels, you got your pole, you got your line, you're going to need some bait. So personally, my go-to is shad. You can also use bluegill, skipjack, carp, anything that swims in your river that you're fishing or the lake or whatever. You know, they always say match the hatch. If you think if you got a lot of shad in the water that you're fishing, you get shad. If you got a lot of skipjack, use skipjack. You can use carp, creek chubs, American shad, hickory shad. Which check your local laws on that, because a lot of places those hickory shad are protected. You know, you can take back to basics and use night crawlers, chicken liver, whatever. But I'm not gonna say big fish don't eat that stuff or won't eat it, but rarely they eat it. You know, I think Dieter Melhorn's got some videos on chicken that he catches a lot of big fish on. Personally, like I said, I use shad, bluegill, anything that swims in the waters you're fishing. Let me show you guys some pictures of those. I've also got a couple videos on the page or on my YouTube page that explains on how to identify shad and different types of baits. So if you want to know that, check that video out too. So, but anyways, check these pictures out. This is what they are. All right, this is a shad. This is a gizzard shad. To catch these, most of the time you need a net, a throw net or a dip net. You can find them in rivers, lakes, sometimes in backwaters and creeks. This is a skipjack. A lot of times you can find these things in the spring and fall at your local locks and dam. I fish for them using spoons or anything that mimics a minnow. A lot of crappie lures will work, but these are great bait as well. Next thing is bluegill. Bluegill, you know, you can catch them out of a creek, out of your lakes, rivers, whatever. Mealworms, night crawlers. To be a good fisherman, you got to be a good bait fisherman. To be a good cat fisherman, you got to be a good bait fisherman. But the next is creek chubs. Creek chubs, you can catch them on a rod and reel at your local creeks, or you can catch them in a trap, a minnow trap, which is what I would prefer to use, is minnow trap. All right. So finally, once you got all your gear together, you got poles, you know, you got a reel, you got line, you got your rigs, now you got bait. Well, now you're going to need a place to fish. I've got some other videos on here of where to find good spots, but I'll kind of break it down. I predominantly fish the bank. Every once in a while I'll go out with a buddy on my boat or something, or on a boat. But anyways, what I'll do is I'll find an area that I want to fish, and I will pull that area up on Google Earth or Google Maps, whatever you want to use, and I'll find a way into that place. You know, you find a road or a path or whatever, find out where you can get into that place. Hot spots are river bends, deep holes, flats, creek mouse, river mouse. You know, you guys, like I said before, you know, these are personal preferences. These are suggestions. You guys form your own opinions. But anyways, pull that stuff up on Google Earth and find your way in there and throw your lines out and fish. Most of the time, if I'm fishing wintertime, I will sit for about 30 to 45 minutes without having a bite. If I don't get a bite in that amount of time, I will reel my stuff in, change my baits, and either cast back out to different spots, or I will pick up all my stuff and go to a different spot. Most of the time in the wintertime, those fish are either going to be there or they're not. If you're fishing the spring and summer, springtime, these fish move a lot more. They're feeding up. So you can sit longer. You can wait, you wait on the bite longer. These fish are traveling. They'll travel ledges. They'll travel flats, whatever. But in the summertime, it kind of gets kind of slow sometimes. A lot of people always think that, summertime's a great time to fish. Personally, I think summertime is the worst time to fish. It's always hot. The fish seem like they get lethargic. I think summertime is worse than wintertime. But fall is my favorite time of year to fish for big catfish. It seems to me like these big catfish are feeding up for the winter, so they're traveling, they're feeding, so you can sit longer again. Then you move into the winter months when, like I said, these fish school up in these deep holes, or on sunny days, you fish flats where the bait's gonna be at, because that shallower water moves bait in and warms up faster. So these catfish will come up on these shallow flats and feed during the daytime when it gets a little bit warmer. But then again, like I said, if you're fishing in the wintertime, usually the fish are going to be there or they're not going to be there. But anyways, guys, I hope this video helps somebody out that's just getting started. If you have any questions at all, feel free to message me or comment. I've got multiple videos on my YouTube, which is Tad Catter Fishing. I've got an Instagram, Tad Catter, and I've got my Facebook page, Tad Catter Fishing, or you can message me personally on my personal Facebook page, which is Troy Dow. Again, guys, I hope this video helps somebody out. Thanks for watching. Click the thumbs up button, and don't forget to share and follow one of my pages. Thanks, guys. Merry Christmas.